That's awesome. I've got a. I just moved up here. I have American jazz. It's not jazz. American jazz.
Jazz look. It's a jazz look.
I haven't played it. I haven't really played it. So, to be honest, I'd be moved out. Everything's been in storage. When we started coming here, and I was like, I should get myself out.
Gotta go
Go do something.
you should be days because
Yeah. I told him, I said, man, I can try to help wherever I can. But yeah, I've never played it. It's like a whole experience. It feels great, dude. I like their strings.
I actually played years last year. Quit. Started having a family and all that shit. It was about 1990. I did a studio gig. And then
Yeah.
whenever I got up, I
Yeah. That's kind of how I felt.
10 years. I haven't picked it up. He goes, oh, come on out, you can do it. That was it.
It's been like, I say it's probably been like 3 or 4 years for me too. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and I had not played on a real drum since but I had an electric kid on the rise. When you get comfortable, you know, you don't have the recoil and stuff.
Don't have it.
So I got like, oh shit, I gotta get my drums like straightened up and get my chops back, you know?
Well, now you sound good. The groove is that's what.
Thanks, man.
Hit the groove for me.
Is he gonna get in the pocket?
Crazy. That's the nice thing.
play fantasy football against you.
Oh, I don't know. I've been pretty lucky. I've been really lucky. Every other league I play is totally sucky. I can't do anything.
Right.
I played this pickup league with a guy who used to back in the 90s. And he's like, close up every time was third place. I think I still have like 5. My name of my team is Donate.
Donate.
It's like, yeah, I'm just giving you my money. Just take it.
That's great.
Oh gosh, he's got such good guys in there that really know football so much better than I do. I just playing my nephews and stuff like that. They're all just about who gets the tickets.
Right.
It's fun to go around and try to leak those away. And then we talk trash always. Every time I win, oh yeah, every time I change I change my name of my team to season ticket holder. That's great.
Never forget.
Oh, they get so good. There was one year I went 2 times in a row, and so it was STH again. Just like that. When I put that in there, because they're all a bunch of 20, 30 guys.
Right.
And it's me and my brother and another guy. It's a completely league. We're 16 guys. We're older, but we have more time on our hands.
I'll be right back.
I'm making my mess back here. Trying to hide everything behind the guitar. Yeah. I'll give you a head notice. So he's going to come in here. We'll come out of this chorus and keep down. Turn around and give you this data for it. So what we'll do is I'll just kind of turn around. It just kind of carries out. So we'll come out of that last chorus. We'll come out of this last chorus. We'll do full here. Let me give you another. Hey, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? I get to do announcements and hold a guitar at the same time. It's kind of fun, you know? I'm Kenny Cox. I'm really honored to be the guy sharing announcements with you this morning. We're going to just do a few of these and we'll jump right into worship. And then we got Philip's great message. It's going to be a great morning. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being online with us as well. If you've got a bulletin, you should have got one when you came in. That's got everything you need to know that's going on here recently at the church. Jump in on that. Also, if you have children, don't forget about family venues going on right now, birth through 5, so you could drop your kids off there. Just like last week, don't forget to take them home later. Don't leave them there. 425 Bar Church is coming up. If you haven't done the Thursday night thing, I highly recommend it. 425 down on 425 Walnut. It's a great place. And this week, we have incredible music by Michelle Gillum. It's awesome. You're going to want to be there. Also, a great message. Make sure you join and have one of your favorite adult beverages or just hang out with some friends. It's a great place to be. If you want to get the most out of what you get here from the venues, take a minute and grab your phone, turn it on silent for a second, and then scan that QR code right there. You'll be able to get the church app. You'll be able to see what's going on with the venues online. All kinds of great things that you can do right with your phone. Highly recommend that. We are really excited that you are here. We hope you enjoy your time this morning. And now I'm going to turn it over to Joey.
Hi. Let's give it up for Kenny. Woo! That's some good announcements right there. All right, if you wouldn't mind, please stand with us and we'll sing some songs together. We're so glad that you've joined us this morning. Welcome.
Between us, by your love you came, broke them down, you broke them down. There were chains around us, by your grace we are no longer bound, no longer bound. You call me out of the grave, you call me into the light, you call my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Feel darkness shaking, all the dead are coming back to life. Back to life. Hear the song awaken, all creation singing we're alive, 'cause you're alive. You call me out of the grave, you call me into the light, you call my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. And what a love we found, death can't hold us down. We shout it out, we're alive 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found, death can't hold us down. We shout it out, we're alive 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found, death can't hold us down. Shout it out, we're alive 'cause you're alive. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, Jesus awakens me. You've been walking the same old road for miles and miles. You've been hearing the same old voice tell the same old lies. If you're trying to fill the same old holes inside, there's a better life. There's a better life. If you've got pain, He's a pain taker. If you feel lost, He's a way maker. If you need freedom or saving, He's a prison shaking savior. If you've got chains, He's a chain breaker. We've all searched for the light of day in the dead of night. We've all found ourselves worn out from the same old fight. We've all run to things you know just ain't right. There's a better life. There's a better life. If you've got pain, He's a pain taker. If you feel lost, He's a way maker. If you need freedom or saving, He's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, He's a chain breaker. If you believe it, if you receive it, but you can't feel it, somebody testify. If you believe it, if you receive it, if you can't feel it, somebody testify, testify. If you believe it, if you receive it, if you can't feel it, somebody testify. If you got pain, He's a pain taker. If you feel lost, He's a way maker. If you need freedom or saving, He's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, He's a chain breaker. If you got pain, He's a pain taker. If you feel lost, He's a way maker. If you need freedom or saving, He's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, He's a chain breaker. If you need freedom or saving, He's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, He's a chain breaker. Great singing. You guys I can hear you.
Yeah, that means you guys are singing. When I walk through deep waters, know that you will be with me. When I'm standing in the fire, I will not be overcome. Through the valley of the shadow, I will not fear, 'cause I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. In the midst of deep sorrow, see your light is breaking through. The dark of night will not overtake me. I am pressing into you. Through the valley of the shadow, I will not fear, 'cause I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. You amaze me, you love me, you call me as your own. You amaze me, you love me, you call me as your own. You amaze me, you love me, you call me as your own. You amaze me, you love me, you call me as your own. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me.
Good morning, Joey.
Hi.
And the rest of y'all. Good to see everybody. In 1961, after leaving the Drifters, Ben E. King recorded Stand By Me, which hit the #1 spot on the R&B chart and #4 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1961, which was the year Denise was born. Now everybody's doing the math now, aren't you? I think she's no longer standing by me now. Now, what I did not know until this week is that this hit song was originally a hymn written in 1905 by an African-American preacher named Charles Albert Tindley. The song appeared in more than 40 hymnals The Baptist hymnal of my youth was not one of them. Not sure why. You may recognize these lyrics, and they changed a little bit from the preacher's original lyrics. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see, no, I won't be afraid, no, I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me. When you're scared, it helps to have someone stand by you. And that's the theme of our teaching today. It's up there. Thank you. Wonderful. We are encouraging all of us to always stay in school, and our theme today is being scared at school. So let's spend a moment in quietness and contemplation, after which the band will sing Stand By Me. Let's relax. If you want to bow your head and close your eyes, if that helps you to create a sense of quietness, then do so. Go ahead and just feel your breath as you bring the air in and let the air out. Silently say to yourself, I am afraid. It's okay, fully experience what it's like to feel and to say, I am afraid. And so say to yourself, I feel fear. Go ahead and breathe that fear in and breathe it out. In your mind, see the thing that is causing your fear. It may be school. It may be church. See someone standing beside you. That someone is breathing with you, sharing your fear. Hear the universal Christ say, do not be afraid. Offer that fear to the divine presence and feel the presence. Breathe healing and peace through your heart into the heart of the one standing beside you. This is real. Amen. Fear, unfortunately, has been a big part of a lot of churches, maybe the churches that we've been a part of too. Churches often run on the fuel of fear. It's our desire to run on the fuel of love. Sometimes when the offering has been taken in other churches, even the churches of my own experience, we have been implored by the pastor to give, sometimes out of fear of punishment or fear of curses if we don't give. But I do not want you to be afraid to give or afraid not to give. I do not want you to give today because you are afraid. But I want you to give because you love. You love yourself. You love the divine. You love love. And you love to be a part of a community that is driven by love and doing all that we can to create a loving world. Feel somebody stand by you today in your fear, because they do. Joey, good selection today on this song. Yeah, anxious to hear it. We'll receive our offering now.
is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry. No, I won't shed a tear. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me.
Crops has been bugging the scientists at Penn State University, and they think they have found a way to do that. They think they have found a way to do that is through ladybugs. Pests that eat crops are afraid of ladybugs because the ladybugs eat those pests. And so these scientists at Penn State University have created this diffuser that puts the fragrance or the smell of ladybugs all over these crops. And the scientists say that it is a sense that smells like fear. And so whenever the ladybugs smell is on those crops and the pests come, they'll stay away from the crops because they're afraid a ladybug is around and they don't want to get eaten. So as we start this school series today, Stay in School, and we're talking about being scared at school, I want us to realize that we are living in a culture right now that smells like fear. It's almost like someone has gone into our schools across our country and sprayed something that has made students and parents alike want to stay away from school. As the parent is taking the child to school, they're both crying. Now, parents and kids have cried for a long time on that first day of school. But there seems to be in our culture right now a more intense fear of what's going on in our schools. Yeah, we've all experienced in our own life, either personally or with our own kids, the fear of that first day of school, the fear of just going to school, period. Charlie Brown and his sister, Sally. Well, Sally, today's the first day of school. We'll soon be there. Just a little way to go now. There it is. There's your school. And she runs away screaming. We all connect in some way with that fear of school. I guess the fear of being separated, fear of school starts in daycare, starts in preschool, and experts tell us that a child doesn't have any concept of time. And a child doesn't know if you're going to be gone 2 hours or 2 weeks. And so the experts tell us to get our kids ready for daycare or preschool, especially daycare in this world, that age, to play peekaboo with them so they'll be used to seeing you and then not seeing you and then seeing you again. So they'll be aware of that. And this is what the experts do say. This was interesting to me. They said, do not leave your kid in the class, and even that goes with the church world too, I suppose, and try to sneak out. We've all done that, I think. And the experts tell us, gosh, if you try to sneak out on your kid, they'll never trust you again. Well, it's too late for us, Nisi. We already blew that part of it, didn't we? There are all kinds of fear diffusers that have been spread over our schools. Go back to the Charles Schulz world. Oh, please don't let her call on me, Marcy says. Please, oh, please don't call on me. I'll study hard tonight if you just please don't let her call on me today. I thought praying in school had been banned, Franklin says. Well, this kind will always be with us, Franklin. Yeah, just the fear of not knowing the answer, the fear of the academic pressure. It's all a part of our school experience that creates a sense of fear. I posted a question on my Facebook page this past week. It says, was school a scary place for you? If so, what made it so? And that we'll think about it, and that's what we're doing today. And I got a few responses. One of the persons said, yes, it was scary. What made it so? The bullies. Another person said, I had a teacher in 7th grade humiliate me in front of the class. Another person said, toilet stalls with no doors. That is so true. Has that even changed? I don't know, grade school or junior high or high school, I don't know. That was intimidating for sure back in my day. This person writes, having a boy spanked with a paddle while he recited the ABCs in front of the class, I will never forget it. That punishment did not fit. Whatever infraction it was, never could. And a late entry, so to speak, to that question is this. I remember in high school that I found this deep hatred for going to school, but I still love learning. But looking back now, I think I hated going to school so much because I didn't fit in with anyone really. I remember being told by the white kids that I was too black, but then being told by the black kids that I was too white. So I went through high school with just 2 friends and kept to myself. That's some traumatic stuff. And we've all probably have some degree of that trauma in our lives from school. And on the other side, there was this response. School was the most wonderful experience ever for me, all the way, elementary, high school, and college. Well, I would love to be you. And for the most part, it was a good thing for me. But I think most of us would agree that as scary as school was in the past, there is an intensity of fear regarding school today. This cartoon shows it so very well. Then I don't want to go to school, and now the parent is saying, I don't want you to go to school. The world in which we live has created even a fear for the teachers. Hi, Susie, I'm your new math teacher. Your English teacher is over behind the barricade. One mother writes of her own experience with her first grader. She says, this past Friday and 3 days after the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, I loaded my 6-year-old son into the car to take him to the ER. I was convinced that he might have appendicitis. He was exhibiting all the signs, pain in his belly and on his right side. He had pain walking and could not hop up and down, or at least refused to try, and was exaggerating his need for help in walking. He was feeling nauseated. He told me his stomach hurt at school all day and he was falling asleep in class. I was concerned and wanted to rule out everything else, so I gave him a Miralax in case that might solve the stomach pain. After I started my car, I paused and took a deep breath, reflecting on the week's stresses. In that moment, I recalled some advice on kids and stress that was shared in the early days of the pandemic. Kids exhibit stress much differently than adults. As I turned around to look at my son in the car still parked outside our house, I asked him, is there anything going on at school? Are you scared of anything? He immediately started crying, and not from his stomach pain. He told me about 2 kids picking on him at school, and then he really broke down and said he doesn't want to go to school anymore because he's scared that the bad guy in Texas will come and murder him and his classmates. And the mom writes, damn, insert gut punch number 1. She goes on, I did my best to reassure him that he is safe and the bad man in Texas cannot hurt him, while still thinking in the back of my head about so much work our country needs to take to protect our kids from gun violence. I listened, I reassured, I suggested we go inside, hang together and snuggle. As soon as we got inside, it was as though his pain had vanished. He still said his stomach hurt a little, but he was back to being my happy, goofy kid. An hour later, his stomach was fine, and he had not left my side once. I was grateful for his snuggles that night, reflecting on the 19 families in Texas who could not snuggle their own child. When I shared this story at work, one colleague told me her middle school son does not want to go to the upcoming school dance and promotion ceremony. Why? Because so many people will be in one place and they could get shot. Damn, she says. Insert gut punch 2. Listen to this story from a school counselor.
I just got done with a session with an elementary schooler who
Yeah, I think all of us agree. Although we bleeped out the word, we can agree with the word and the sentiment. It is messed up. What that school counselor has helped us understand, I think, through her personal experience, and this is probably being repeated thousands of times across the schools in counselors' offices. It's a picture of a dystopian society, a society that is messed up, effed up, without justice, without peace, without love. We are living, I think, in dystopian times. And it makes me sad, but it makes me hopeful because there is a picture of a utopian time. It's written about by the Hebrew prophets, starting with Isaiah. Out of the stump of David's family will grow a shoot, yet, yes, a new branch, bearing fruit from the old root. And the Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. He will delight in obeying the Lord. He will not judge by appearance, nor make a decision based on hearsay. He will give justice to the poor and make fair decisions for the exploited. Isaiah lived in the 8th century BCE. The values expressed by Isaiah are still so aspirational. The earth will shake at the force of his word. One breath from his mouth will destroy the wicked. I don't know why they have to slide in that stuff for every once in a while. He will wear righteousness like a belt, and truth like an undergarment. I love that verse when I was in 4th grade. Looked at my underwear. Truth like underwear. In that day, the wolf and the lamb will live together. The leopard will lie down with the baby goat. The calf and the yearling will be safe with the lion, and a little child will lead them all. The cow will graze near the bear. The cub and the calf will lie down together. The lion will eat hay like a cow. The baby will play safely near the hole of a cobra. Yes, a little child will put his hand in a nest of deadly snakes without harm. Nothing will hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain, for as the waters fill the sea, so the earth will be filled with people who know the Lord. In that day, the heir to David's throne will be a banner of salvation to all the world. The nations will rally to him, and the land where he lives will be a glorious place. The story begins with the claim that out of a dead stump is going to grow new life. We're living in a culture of death, of killing, of fear, and I can't help but wonder, is it possible that in our culture, we are more concerned about keeping a particular type of gun more than we're concerned about protecting children? I dream of a utopian world. From that stump of death and killing and fear can grow a new life and emerge from that stump a brand new way. Isaiah describes it as a time and a place when predators live in harmony with the prey, when lions become vegetarians, when violence between the species stops, and the children are always safe. The prophet Zechariah, who lived and prophesied 200 years after Isaiah, sees a time when the city streets will be filled with boys and girls playing there. The streets will be safe. We think our streets are not safe today, and in so many communities they aren't. Neither were they in these days. So Zechariah was dreaming of a time where they would be. dreaming of a time where children will live and play and go to school in peace and safety. The word for play here is the Hebrew word that literally means to laugh. There will be a time, instead of crying, there will be laughing. Instead of screaming out of fear and absolute terror and horror, here will be the joyful giggles and the hilarious laughter of children. Instead of fear, there will be peace. Folks, this is a picture of how life could be, how life should be. How will we get there? Go back to Isaiah in the 8th century. They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain. No more violence. Why? Because the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord, as filled with the water in the ocean. That word knowledge is so very interesting to me. It's a word for feminine knowledge. That's not my word for it. That's this Hebrew commentator's word for it. A feminine knowledge. It's a knowledge of the soul. It is not a knowledge related to, I know these things about God, and I know this systematic theology about God. It's not a knowledge of doctrine or knowledge of dogma, but it is a knowledge of experience. The root word of this word knowledge is yada. The word yada is used in the story of Adam and Eve. When we read that Adam knew Eve and she conceived, okay, that must mean that Adam wrote a biological treatise on Eve. He wrote a book about Eve. No, he knew Eve and Eve conceived. They got very well acquainted with each other. So this word knowledge is not about doctrine and belief statements and theological maxims. There is a religion that has a knowledge of God, that has a theology of God, and if you agree with that knowledge of this religion about God, then you're in. If you don't agree with that knowledge that they have about God, then you're out. And that was the knowledge that I grew up with. And that was the judgment we made on people who didn't agree with us. They were out. There is another religion, however, the one that I began to experience in high school and had bits and pieces of it throughout my life. But Nisi and I have got into a whole new level of this type of religion in the last 20 years. I so would love to lead you to that, away from this other knowledge to a knowledge of experience, to mystical knowledge of getting very well acquainted with God. And it seems like out of that second type of knowledge, in that second type of religion, as what Father Rohr says, the religion of the second half of our life. Hopefully we will grow out of that very basic, fact-based knowledge into an experiential. It seems like when we experience that knowledge of God, we experience love. And it seems like, and I think our lives bear this out to a degree, we are developing a greater love for all. It's an inclusive, and it's a love that embraces even those that I used to judge, and even those that I would, in my false self, even judge today. It's a unifying experience of love. Now, every once in a while, we see glimmers of this second religion, this religion of the second half. We see glimpses of new life coming out of a dead stump. If we open our eyes and if we are aware, we will see it. Somebody was aware of this and saw it. The first day of school, a little boy is very scared. And the scared little boy was struggling. Another little boy was aware. And he decided to step in and stand by him. Is it possible that one of the solutions to those who are fearful is to have someone, and maybe that someone is you, to stand by them in their fear? Psalm 34 takes us to how to do this, maybe. If we would all turn from evil and do good. If we as a society, as a culture, as individuals, but as groups, as a community, as a nation, as a planet, seek peace, chase it, go after it. You get up in the morning, that's what's on your mind. Today I'm seeking peace, and I will go after it. That's what it's going to take, isn't it? A couple of centuries after David wrote that, Isaiah wrote this: learn to do what is right. See, we're taught to do what is wrong. We're taught to hate. We're taught to be prejudiced. We're taught to discriminate. We're taught to judge, and we can unlearn that. Maybe not. Maybe we can learn something new that is better than what was old. So the prophet says, learn to do what is right or just and promote justice. Give the oppressed reason to celebrate. Take up the cause of the orphan and defend the rights of the widow. Two groups in Isaiah's day that were experiencing oppression more than anybody else. Another person who responded to my post about their scary experience wrote this: school is probably scary until you have a friend or someone who sees you and helps you find your way. Let's help each other find their way. So we have some time today for some questions. We have some time to consider what you're thinking about and maybe to clarify some things that I'm thinking about today. So this week, if you would like to go a little bit further into this concept of a utopian society, then you have the resource right there. And let's take some time. Denise, come on up, and Barbie, come on up. For those of you who are first time with us today, welcome. I will introduce you to Denise. On my near right,
Born in 1961.
born in 1961. Barbie, when were you born? Don't answer that. She got off the stage real quick, didn't she? She knew what was coming. Barbie is our executive director of the venues. Thank
She's
you.
a lot younger than us.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, she could be our child. Maybe younger sister, much younger sister or a niece. Do y'all have any questions? You can text them to that number or come to the mic, and you can ask any question about today or about anything, A to Z, or ask Denise any question. whatsoever. We value questions at the venues, and we don't want it to always just be a monologue from me or from whatever teacher is up here, and we really want to hear your thoughts. If you have any, please do. Are we going home early, niece?
We might be.
All right. That means everybody is in total understanding. And that's a rare thing.
You're off the hook.
No, I'm on the hook now.
I'm going into my senior year in high school. What advice do you have for me to make the most of it when it is a place I fear?
Oh, gosh. High school in 1974 is very different than high school in 2022, isn't it? Talk to somebody. Talk to a trusted teacher. Topics about which we can visit with our teachers today, though, are being very limited by some in government. Some topics are off limits. I'm not sure what that means for counselors in school, but I'm so thankful for the counselors as represented in that video. Find a trusted counselor. I wouldn't tell you necessarily to talk to your pastor. I don't trust him. And I am one. I would talk to a good therapist, though. Talk to a good friend. You got any advice, Nisi, on that?
No, I think that school has always supposed to be a place for learning and a place for fun and friendships, and it is different now. This is the question kind of in that regard. What in your mind caused the cultural shift to where kids now feel the fear of going to school? I don't ever remember feeling scared of being shot when I grew up.
Yeah, that is a very complex question, the answer of which is even more so. I don't think we are a society that values peace. We are not a society that values the values of the prophets, Zechariah and Isaiah. And what bothers me so much about that is that I grew up under the teaching that we are a Christian nation with Judeo-Christian values. I value that heritage of mine. I'm understanding now, as a 66-year-old with some life experience, that our culture does not, Jesus talked about, you will know them by their fruit. And not everyone who says, Lord, Lord, will be a part of the kingdom. And then he goes on to say, you will know people by their fruit, by how they live their life. And so this statement that we are a Christian nation, I think Jesus' word said, no, not everyone who says I'm a Christian really is a follower of Jesus. Not everyone says that their community is a Christian community is really following the values of Jesus, because look at the fruit. And I think unless and until we become a culture that values what I read this morning from the prophets, I think we'll always be in tension and division. Yeah, that's more of a theological answer. There are political answers to that and sociological answers to that, of which I'm not even qualified.
Do you think that this utopian condition is something that they were speaking about existing within our own evolution, a place that we can come to in Christ, or rather an actual objective reality on earth?
Wow, that's a good question. Was that a person here in the building? Does anybody want to own that question?
I don't know how you know that.
Because you're going to be teaching next week. That is really good. All the questions are really insightful. Yes, it is both an objective reality and a future. Jesus says the kingdom is here. The kingdom is within you. There is, I hope, a time and a place in which that will be an objective reality. But when Jesus says the kingdom, and he describes that, what that kingdom is like, all throughout his 3 years of teaching, and it is a kingdom of peace, it is a kingdom of justice, where the oppressed have reason to celebrate. He says that kingdom is here right now if we'll do it. It's available. I don't think we want it as a culture. So it's both and. It's potentially now, and I hope it'll be a reality. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I wanted to share a story because I
Okay.
noticed in the picture of the two little boys, there was no color in that picture because the little black child was comforting the white child. Well, my children went to, they grew up in Wichita, which was very segregated, and they were bused into the northeast part of town, which was the black neighborhood. And there was a lot of rioting and stuff that went on when it was years ago that they went to school, and one weekend was particularly bad. So I had to send my little kids to this grade school on Monday. They come home, and I'm sure you've met my son, Carrie. I asked him, how did it go at school today? And Carrie says, oh, somebody got hit in the back with a rock. I said, today? And in his little indignant voice, he said, no, Mom, over the weekend when the adults were fighting. So they had no concept of that. And as they grew up, of course, then they went to North High, and he ended up, I don't know how many people know who Barry Sanders is. He was a football player. And my son walked with his sister in graduation, so they saw no color either.
Yeah, children, that's maybe, thank you for sharing that. I think that's what Jesus, one of the reasons that Jesus says, gosh, he didn't ever say gosh. But I think he did kind of think it. I think he sighed. He said, unless you become like children, you won't experience the kingdom. Yeah, I think it was Nelson Mandela who said, we're taught prejudice. Nobody's born being prejudiced. Become like little children, and we're not. Hey, thanks, Nisi. Hey, if you've got any others that you want to ask, then I try my best throughout the week to respond to your questions through email. So please ask, and I'll do my best to respond. Hi, Joey.
Hi. Oh,
Thank
it's
you.
on. Okay.
I know it's on. Thanks, Nise.
Yep.
I was trying to think of that verse in the Bible that said, gosh.
It's in the newer translation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The comic book version. All right.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna say goodbye to our online audience now. So thank you so much for joining us online. We're so glad that you joined us in your PJs.